Yeah, what's going to happen?
You're going to see a lot more adventure. You're going to see a lot more time periods. We're going to see the 1940s, the 1970s, early 1900s, parts of the future that we didn't know exist. You're going to see quite a bit. The show's really opened up now, so we're really excited by it. And plus the character dynamics have all shifted and changed, so we're excited about that.
Well, as a fan of the show, I found myself having to write down timelines to track everything, and it was intriguing because it made me forced to think about your show a lot more, and I appreciated the fact that you trusted us to keep up.
Well, yeah, we felt a little guilty about that, because it's nowadays with Twitter, it's like you have you can read your live audience, and sometimes, it's all about the thing I would say to fans is like, it's okay to be a little confused for a moment, because maybe we want you to be a little confused, but we promise you we're going to get it. We'll get you to where it's supposed to go, because time travel it's a puzzle. It's a giant puzzle. And so yeah, we always believe that the audience is smart, and the audience will get it. And if they don't, then hopefully they're on board for the characters and the story and the emotional journey.
Well, also another thing I invested in really early on was casting Cole. Whether it was meant to be a great romance across time, it felt like one.
Yeah.
So is that something the show is going to explore further, or are you going to tease this out?
Yeah, but things are going to get a lot worse for them before it gets better. Things are going to get a lot worse for them before it gets better.
Well, you killed Aaron. That was terrible.
Well, he kind of had it coming. And but I think it's interesting. That was a big sacrifice. Her boyfriend died, and then when it came to Cole's boyfriend, Ramse, he wouldn't let her shoot him, and she did it anyway. So I think she's going to feel a little bit torn, a little bit betrayed by Cole, and that may head her in a direction that could be away from him for a bit.
How would this show work that way if they didn't work across time working with each other?
Well, I didn't say they wouldn't work with each other. They just may not like each other for a bit. So,
when you were in the first season, did you have it all mapped out originally, or were you moving along that Ramse was going to be kind of the
we
core?
Knew from the pilot. We knew there's a scene that ended up in the deleted scenes in the DVD, but it's on every promo we have, where he says goodbye to him. As he's getting into the time machine, he says, "Are you ready to make history or unmake it?" And as that scene progresses, he's like, we don't have to do this. We can survive here. So we knew right from the beginning what Ramse's journey was going to be. Just like we know in season 2, what everybody's journey is going to be. It's much more richer this season. It's because of all that stuff and how the season. So we'll see.
Do you have an ideal number of seasons to tell your overall story arc?
An ideal number? No, I wouldn't say I have an ideal number, but it would definitely need to be more than 2. It definitely needs to be where it's sort of the mission kind of truly begins this season, where we really learn what the 12 Monkeys are trying to do. We really learn the complexities of that organization, their leader, the witness, who's in charge of all this, who is the witness, where is he from, when is he from, and all that. So it's sort of now beginning. It's funny, I was saying the other day, it's like you could almost view season 1 as the prequel to what's happening now. So we're excited.
So do you have a fixed story that you want to tell over the amount of...
Yeah. And a couple of bonus stories in between.
So how long are you get just determines
really
how much detail we get?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. Nowadays, cable shows, they're like 13 episodes, There's 22 people are exhausted. But this is a show you could do 22 easily, because there's stories we don't have time to tell because we want to keep the serialized narrative going. But we would love to take a minute and stop and do a story just from Jennifer Goines' perspective of the world, and what does that look like? Does she see Muppets? Is it a musical? So there's so many great places to go. There's stuff in the apocalypse. There's backstory with Ramse and Deacon and Cole that we would love to tell those stories.
Well, we're going to see more Deacon then?
You're going to see a whole lot more Deacon. You're going to see a whole lot of them.
Well, Deacon's very conflicted. It seems like he kind of wants to be the hero in this story, but he can't be because of the
Deacon is the
situation.
hero in his own story. It's like he's a sociopathic Han Solo, you know. From his perspective, he survived the apocalypse and he's helped others survive, and that's how it goes. But now that he's a regular this season, he's going to have a lot more to do, and it's going to be a lot harder for all of our people to work together.
Did you have a hard time articulating the sort of style of the show and how ambitious it is when you're pitching it to networks?
Yes. Yeah. Well, when we started pitching the show, it was a time where people said no time travel. They were scared of time travel. I think in some respects they probably still are, because they think time travel, they think puzzle, but time travel it's always emotional, right? All the good time travel stories are about, if I could go back and I could save somebody's life that I loved, a parent or a child, and that's the key, I think, to it. And once we really spoke on that level, I think they started to get it. And they still let us do great stuff.
How much can you talk about Cole's limitations now that his health's kind of at risk when he does these jumps?
Well, his health isn't at risk anymore because he had that paradox that kind of reset him. But eventually he's going to have to start traveling again. But he's stuck here. How he gets back, or if he gets back, is going to be really interesting.
You guys kind of scared us a number of times. We kept thinking, how can you kill your hero?
Yeah, you can't kill them all.
People do it nowadays in television, on cable television. You could do it. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Everything has been pitched in the writers' room. There are moments where you'd be like, "This is it," and maybe we can kill Cassie, and you're like, "Wow, what does that mean for the show?" And so nobody is safe. I think in today's cable television, I don't think anybody's safe, but I think that's a good thing.
Will the technology change as far as time travel goes? Is that going to change a little bit?
You're going to see at some point a more muscular, aggressive time machine that's capable of doing a little bit more.
Really?
As they have to
Pretty
adapt.
muscular the way it is now.
It's pretty muscular now, but they're going to have to go further back in time, and they're going to need to make sure they can do that.
I think because the series jumps and then you have to kind of pay attention to where they're at. When you're a viewer, do you think this is something you have to really focus on? I find myself if I want to watch it later at night, I have to forget about it. I get lost.
Well, you should forget about it, because I don't think you do. I don't think it's any different than a show that has any kind of A story or B story. They do take place in different times. Unless you're thinking about a change in time, then you got to lean in. So I think maybe one of the things we did wrong last season is we threw that year card up too often that told you where you were. And I think you kind of knew where you were. If you saw the post-apocalypse, that's the future. If they were drinking lattes, that's the past. So I think we're going to be a little less direct with those cards this season and just let it play out.
Straight on